And it has started.
Okay. The April 2025 meeting of the Board of Commissioners, for the South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District is called to order at 6:01 p.m. We have a quorum present. Is there anyone for public comment?
There's not.
Thank you. We'll move on to the financial report, please, Brian.
Okay, absolutely. First of all, thank you to Matt, who prepared the report this month. We'll start out with the cumulative review, where you'll see we're 106,000 in the favorable, which is obviously very good. You'll see a little bit later in the report, there's about 13,000 that did get transferred out of this into the construction fund. So you'll see the reason for some of the amounts here in the next couple slides. You've got the revenue slide where it shows an $18,000 positive. There's a couple of factors that have benefited us. One was the $15,000 that we received from the Rotary is in this number, as well as we got last summer Skyhawks did their camps, and it took them until about a month ago to give us the check. So that was about a $2,500 check that we got. That's part of this as well. But then, of course, we got the sponsorship from Whidbey Telecom. So that was the Whidbey Telecom was budgeted money. The other one wasn't. So really the gap here of 18,000 gets wiped up by some of that, but also just looking at our property tax numbers, it's about 10,000 under what we budgeted. So that'll catch up. You know, it's spring, so it takes a while for some of those numbers to come in. So
do we have the final amount of the outgoing from the 15,000?
Yes, that'll get when we get to the vouchers. Okay. We'll see how much is there. It's about 11, a little under 12,000 is what we spent on. That'll hit the expenditures, right? So we'll see this on the expenditures. You'll see the $88,000 favorable, which is great. Part of that is that we went 3 months without the administrative 2 position. Corinne, who is here and doing great. Carrie is working her, filling her brain every day. Corinne is going to be joining us in the May meeting to meet you all and say hello. Other factors in the reasons why the expenditures are favorable is we have a $9,000 rental fee to the gym that we still have to pay. And we haven't paid any CPA money yet. So, and then we also paid a little under 12,000 for the fountain, which offsets some of that. So overall, looking healthy, looking good. And then if you just look at our fund balance, this is where it mentions the 13,000 that was moved from the M&O, the construction. This was a reimbursement, partial reimbursement for one of our original Department of Commerce grants that we got. So that was transferred over into that fund. So overall, looking good. It's looking solid. Any questions about the report portion?
I don't have a question about the report. I have a question about the P&L.
Yeah.
There was a program, there was a line item for concerts and movies.
Yeah.
What concerts and movies have we done this quarter?
Is it revenue that you saw it under?
Yeah.
That would be the sponsorship.
Oh, okay.
Retail.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Just like I just couldn't remember that coming up in the programming.
Wait. Yeah, good. If you're ready, we can move on to vouchers. I did something different this month. As I told Jennifer earlier, I'm trying to change the visual of some of the board meeting to make it a little simpler to kind of go through things. One of the things I did with the vouchers is I went through and highlighted the ones that I thought were noteworthy. So I'll kind of comment on the ones, I'll comment on the ones that I highlighted initially, and then allow you guys, whatever you guys like to comment on as well. What Jennifer mentioned earlier, 11,882, this is the fountain, obviously. So that leaves us a little over $3,000 left, which we'll just hold on to until we can fix the basketball court. That's what it's designated for. So hopefully we can do that sooner than later, but Rotary was thrilled. I did ask them, I said, it may be a while before we get to that. And they were like, they're fine. We'll show you the pictures later of the dedication. The campground property fund, this is just our biannual, roughly 15,000 that we have to pay for that loan, as well as we had an interesting service bill from Jerry Beck. The lightning hit a couple trees up at the up by the water tank, and it caused an electrical short and a couple electrical components that on the weekends, the weekend guy Jacob was there, and the water was overflowing the top of the tank. And so Jerry Beck came out. Took him a while to figure out what happened, but what happened was that lightning just got close enough just to short it out. So that's what that little $1,500 bill is. And then cultural resources survey. This is for pickleball court. This is part of the Island County requirement. This is the second time we've done this with them. So it's another $2,000 out of the pickleball fund that we've had to spend to redo this. I've got good news on Island County that we'll get to later. It's not all negative, but that's what that is. That's the second cultural service or cultural resources survey. The pickleball spot, this also could delay the pickleball project because they've got to approve the survey that we did. It's in their hands now, but they're saying they're 3 or 4 months backed up. So they're saying we may not get results on this back till July. We can't break ground till we get the results. So we'll one step at a time. So that's RCO. That's not.
Island County has to approve that.
No, RCO. Sorry, the funder.
Okay.
The funder has to approve the work. And once we get through the bidding process, if that's when she says we can put some pressure on a little bit if it's a priority thing, like getting the pickleball courts built before it rains and turns into winter. So anyways, as far as the vouchers go, that was the only thing that stood out to me that was a little different. Any questions about the vouchers or anything you guys want to talk about? Right. Then that is all I have for the financial report.
Then we will move on to the consent agenda, and I would entertain a motion.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt real quickly on the consent agenda? Because I'd like to point out one thing that is on the consent agenda that's never been on there before. Is that okay? Sorry, let me get through the financial stuff here for a second. Part of the consent agenda is this $19,000 plus check that's due to Island County. This is the kind of thing you might see in the consent agenda going forward. It's a normal consent agenda item. It's an item that doesn't have much controversy, but is above my signing authority. So this is the example. And so when your packet for consent agenda items, you'll get the support documents like you did. And then it won't be really talked about unless a commissioner decides to pull it off the consent agenda. So anything on the consent agenda can be pulled off at any time to be discussed. But in this case, this is the site review plan for the aquatic center. If we don't pay this, we don't have an aquatic center. So that's why it's not really much of a discussion. So it just needs approval. So anyways, I'm just giving you an example of what you guys are going to see on the consent agenda going forward. And now back to.
So a question about that.
Yep.
An initial payment?
There's a little bit more. They're giving us what they have now, but there's going to be not as much, probably a couple $1,000s more, but there will be a secondary payment on this. The other thing, Chris, I'm glad you pointed that out because it got me thinking about that highlighted piece of paper in front of Eric. The commissioners on site here, something I'm going to do a little differently to help you guys out is I've provided you each with suggested verbiage for if you want to make a motion on any of the items on the agenda. Don't have to use the verbiage, don't have to make a motion. It's just something to help you guys out as we get into some of the minutia items over the next several months, so that you can kind of have an idea of what a motion could look like. And also, if you use that verbiage, it helps carry out because she could just plug and play. But either way, it's just a tool. So, all right, sorry, back to consent agenda.
If there's no further discussion on the consent agenda, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. I move to approve the consent agenda.
I second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Eric, aye.
Just I.
Jake, aye.
Matt, aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. Moving on to the staff report, please, Brian.
All right, well, recreation's in front of you, and Matt and Jake, these are online now if you'd like to see it, is the new activity guide, which came out today. So yeah, some of the new summer programs worth highlighting. We got line dancing with Gigi starting next month. There's a chess wizards camp, which Sky particularly is very excited about. Skyhawks are doing some different things, including an Ultimate Games camp. Sky's doing a couple events this summer, a Puzzles in the Park Day and a Trading Card Trade Day. He's also going to try out evening basketball again, bless his heart. So that should be a bit of an adventure. In your packet, I gave you the attached dates that are important, but those are also in the activity guide. Feel free, those of you that are on site, to take a handful if you got places to. We'll get them distributed ourselves among the community, but if you have people or places that want to see them, they're here. Facility and grounds. I mentioned before the significant lightning strike to our water tank that happened last month. I'll show you some of the. See if I can find the. Where are you at? Oh, it's the Word document. Sorry. There it is. So you'll see this tree here, which was completely obliterated. There was 6-foot shards into the dirt. And then this is harder to see. It needs to be zoomed in a little bit better, but there's literally a stripe that goes down this tree where the lightning just skimmed the edge of the tree. So it was a pretty powerful. Image. So that was fun. So Tom and his crew got up there pretty quick and cleaned that all up. Little League games have started. Rec League soccer games start this weekend. We have increased the dosage of the septic tank at the sports complex to help accommodate the large soccer crowds. So we should be ready for that. Staff are getting ready for the lakes. Fishing season starts at the end of the month. They, as I told Krista earlier, they painted the exterior of all the bathrooms today. They had to wait for it to get warmer. And on their short list is to paint the interiors. So they'll get the place looking sharp for the summer. And that's the next thing. And then on my thing, we've got the Rotary Club, which we're so appreciative of, that we had the dedication of the drinking fountain. Jennifer and I met a bunch of their members up there to say thank you, and they took a bunch of pictures for social media. So, and it just started raining in time for us to leave. So the timing was really good. So appreciate them and what they did there. I have an update on this one. Field day at the school with the school this spring was we had arranged it for May 16th, but they called and decided to keep it all on campus. They're going to be doing a lot of activities that would be difficult for us, like water balloons and things that would cause a lot of cleanup and mess. And they decided, we didn't say anything. They just decided on their own to keep it on campus and not use our park, which, okay. So that's all right. We did we paid towards the principal the large amount that was approved, $181,000 and change that was approved at last month's board meetings. That did get paid to Heritage Bank towards the debt of the campground property. Shortens the length of the loan, doesn't affect the $30,000 or so we have to pay. The topic of policies regarding remote attendance was brought to my attention after reviewing the bylaws and policies. I found that we didn't have any policies on remote attendance. Carrie had remembered that there had been discussion. So we did a little digging and found that there had been a resolution passed in 2013 about remote attendance that, for whatever reason, never got put into the bylaws or the policy manual. So in other words, it was passed by the board, but for whatever reason, it was never transferred into the actual document. So it just got forgotten about. It's an old policy, but just for cleaning it up, it is policy. It's the last thing the board approved. So I'm going to bring it forward next month, and you guys can decide to eliminate it, modify it, do whatever you want with it. But it does need to be in there if it's been approved by the board. So just an FYI, something for me. And then I think that's it. That is it for the staff report.
Questions? Okay. All right, we'll move on to committee and community meeting reports.
Oh, yes, good, thank you. We have decided to remove ourselves as a partner in organization, for lack of a better way to put it, the Clinton Community Council.
We were a board member.
Yeah, we're a board member. We were just due to time restraints, we're building a pool. But they have requested, and I'm more than happy to do it, that I send them a monthly report of what's going on so that they can, and I've also said if there's a topic that's specifically regarding parks or our community, we certainly would, I'd be more than happy to attend. So we not left, but we made a very good transition out, I think. So yeah, so that's I think a good thing for us, and it's nice that we could still be involved. Thank you for reminding me of that, everyone.
To unfinished business and the comprehensive plan programs.
All right, so I'm sorry, the comprehensive plan programs are pool and pickleball. Okay. First, the pickleball. We met the design team came onto the island last week. We did a walkthrough, which was very healthy. We also worked on putting the bid packet together. That's both the pool and the pickleball project are kind of in the same zone of getting the bid packet ready and waiting on the county on some permitting. They are, and this is their estimate, so this is not the gospel, but I think it's at least a bit of a red flag. Their current design estimate for the build has it around 700,000. So we have around 400,000. So that's obviously a discrepancy. Again, we're talking estimates here, so there's no reason to be too nervous yet, but it is something that we want to kind of be mindful for. So very similar to the pool, we do have alternate items in here, some curbing, some windshields. And so we're working on just, trying to have options so that when we do get bids in, just like the pool, we'll bring it to you guys to look at the options and say, what can we afford? What can we not afford?
Does the 400 include what they raised themselves?
The 400 include what the pickleball people raised? Yes. Yeah, it's actually about 410,000 is what we have. Now, we have some other money. We budgeted $65,000 for the basketball court. That money could be put onto this project. So, I mean, it's not the big numbers of the pool. We're not talking millions. So, I mean, we will get these pickleball courts built. But what we're working with the designer is just making sure that when they're giving their bids to us, that we're having some flexibility so you guys can make some decisions as to what's in the best interest. So we're getting there. So don't let the number scare you yet. It's the goal is to get this thing out to bid, just like the pool next month, and hopefully by June we'll have something to look at that's functional. Had a that would have been bad. Had a meeting with the Island County Public Health Director to discuss their requirement. They gave us a requirement. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last month or not, but basically they wanted us to create septic designs for the drain field by the chance that someday we may want to put stuff in. So it wasn't do the work, it was just hire a septic designer to create the plans for the work. That didn't make any sense. So I sat down with him last week, actually had a really good breakthrough as I was explaining to him what this project was. There was some misunderstanding as to where Tom's Road was going to go. What I mean by Tom's Road is there's going to be an access road along the tree line to get to the pickleball court, so the ADA folks can park their cars there. They thought the road was going to be farther up the hill, over top of where the drain field would be. So once we got through some of that, they called me the next day and said, I think we can work this out without you having to hire anyone, which is what I wanted to hear, because we're spending a lot of money on surveys and lawyers and deeding the property. And there's a lot of money going out of this project for stuff that has nothing to do with pickleball. So anyway, so that was good. That was a good breakthrough with Island County, which takes us to the pool. Because like the pickleball,
they're talking about an extension to the existing septic. So the alternative field being that hillside, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah,
that you're talking about. They're not talking about building a new bathroom. They're saying
No,
if
correct.
you want to expand in the
Correct.
future.
Right. And really what it turned down to when I met with the director was the road. That wasn't in any of the initial conversations between our architects and Island County. But when I got to the director, it was like, we're concerned about the road. They said, oh, we can talk about the road. That's doable. And so once we got through kind of the email communication and just sat down face to face, sometimes it's just easier to
Sure.
figure some of that stuff out.
But in
So,
reality, if we did want to expand later years down the road,
Yeah.
there's room to do that
Absolutely.
adequately between that road. I
Yes.
understand the area you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right?
yeah, there is, because we talked about that, because we might need that. I mean, as we get busier. But like the pickleball project, the aquatic center design team ran into some unnecessary delays in terms of paperwork submitted to Island County. This was a very similar thing where things we submitted were lost or not put in the right place. So I set a meeting with the planning director as well and his team, yielded a really good meeting and a real positive last couple of weeks. I mean, the last couple of weeks, I think things have really been cooking. One of the things we agreed on, we told them that in order to stay on our timeline, we needed to get the first review of permits back to us by May 9th. And they said they could do it. So they said, yeah, that's doable. They said maybe even sooner. Great. We also agreed, or they agreed, that we would have a weekly check-in. So we've set a weekly meeting every Thursday at 1 so that we're just keeping each other accountable. So that we're giving them instant information if they need it. And we're getting quick updates as to how things are going. So overall, I've been incredibly happy the last couple of weeks with Island County. I think they've been very responsive. They've been initiating a lot of communication with us. I think both the pickleball and the pool projects are getting a lot of attention right now, and real positive attention. So yeah, for all the things we can complain about, I would say Island County gets kudos right now for their leadership. And just a reminder, this blue box is just the best case. I just want to remind everyone with the pool, best case is we go out to bid by about June 1st, late May, early June. We get a bid we can accept in mid-July, and then just be ready, because if we can get a bid we can accept it by mid-July, the push is going to be on the ballot in November for the levy next year. We don't get a bid we can accept, or if this extends past mid-July, which is about as late as we can do a resolution and get this ready for the ballot, then we would just go out to bid the next year, but it means we wouldn't get the funding for operations till 2027. So I know I've said this before, but I'm just marinating the information. We're pushing hard. That's why that May 9th date is important, to get us ready. And we're working feverishly on the bid stuff right now. There's a lot of details. So between the project manager and design team and me, we're cranking it out. Here's a question for you guys. The bid packets are going to be ready for both the pickleball and the pool sometime in May. I'm not sure if they'll be ready by the May board or after the May board. Do you guys want to approve those, or do you just want me to send you a copy? You'll obviously have to approve the contracting agreements once we get the bids back. That's obviously you guys' thing. The bid packets, it may require a special meeting. I'm just giving you a heads up. If we get the bid packet done the week after the May board meeting, we might have to come back because we can't delay 3 weeks or that. I'm just asking if you guys want to approve those packets, or do you care? Because these are major projects, so we wouldn't normally approve bid packets from a board perspective, but because of the size of these, just wanted to give you guys the option.
Yeah, my vote would be that we review and approve them, that just because of the dollar amount and the impact for the community.
Yeah, I'm okay with that as well.
Okay. My goal will be to get those at the May meeting, but if they're not ready by the May meeting, it may require a special meeting between that meeting and the June meeting, just to get them again, so we don't have any delays. The pickleball concern delay is the weather. We want to get that project going. Obviously, the pool delay is us wanting to get on the November ballot for the levy. So, okay, good. I will bring those to you for approval before we move on. And that is the comprehensive plan report. Any questions on any of that?
We will move on to new business.
First thing is the discussion of the treasurer position, which I think you guys all know at this point has been vacated. So the next few items on the agenda will be kind of talking about the next few steps with that process. So you can probably go on to the resolution, I would imagine. Sorry, let me close out of some of this.
The resolution will be to amend our board bylaws as well as our policy manual. There is a discrepancy between the two. You had a chance to read.
Yeah, the simple discrepancy is our bylaws and our policy manual says that we can be without a treasurer, but it gives no guidance as to what happens when we don't have a treasurer. So the proposed verbiage was simply to bridge that gap, to explain who does the reports monthly, who's the auditing officer, that kind of stuff. So the plan of the resolution, this comes in two phases, because first we would need to approve the resolution to change the verbiage in the bylaws, and then just make a simple motion to make the same change in the policy manual. we could do that as a combination, but I think it's just cleaner to make it as two different motions. Mostly Carrie told me that she's that way. Anyways,
You're looking for a motion?
I would entertain a motion.
All right. I move to approve resolution 2025-02, a resolution to amend South Woodby Parks and Recreation District bylaws to incorporate the verbiage that was included in Exhibit A of the board packet.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2025-02, a resolution to amend South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District bylaws to incorporate the verbiage that was included in Exhibit A of the board packet. All those in favor say aye.
Eric, I.
Krista, I.
Jake, I.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed.
see
say
it here, man.
Sorry, I was on mute. Matt, I.
Thank you. All right. All those opposed say nay. All right. The ayes have it and the motion passes.
Now we see the motion for the policy manual.
Also, I move to amend the district policy manual section 2.03.3 to replace the verbiage with the verbiage that was included in Exhibit A of the board packet.
Really well stated.
Second that.
It has been moved and seconded to amend the district policy manual, section 2.03.3, to replace the verbiage with the verbiage that was included in Exhibit A of the board packet. All those in favor say aye.
Eric, I.
Krista, I.
Jake, I.
Matt, I.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Then we will move on to the resolution to designate a new auditing
Officer?
officer. Alternate
The alternate, yeah. This action includes two steps. The board will need to nominate and elect a new auditing officer, and then we'll need to pass the resolution to name that person as the auditing officer. Probably say any discussion or nominations at this one.
I will nominate Krista to be the district's alternate auditing officer.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations?
Any other nominations? Krista Lorscher has been nominated to be the district's alternate auditing officer.
I think there's no other nominations. I think it brings it to a vote.
All right. Don't need a motion, we just vote.
I think, oh, I guess we do need a motion, right?
We'll entertain a motion for the nomination.
I'll make a motion to nominate Krista to be the district's alternate auditing officer.
Second that motion.
Actually, I'm going to interrupt for a second. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't think we need to do this. I think the resolution does this.
Yeah,
That's my fault.
resolution.
That's my fault they did that. I think if we approve the resolution, that puts Krista in. My fault. That was, I wasn't clear on that. So the second part of that, approving resolution 2503.
Yeah.
You can approve that and then just put Krista's name into the gap.
Okay, I will move to approve resolution 2025-03 to change the South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District's auditing officer from Matthew Sims to Krista Lochner.
Second that motion.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2025-03, a resolution to change the South Whidbey Parks and Recreation District's auditing officer from Matthew Sims to Krista Lorscher. All those in favor say aye.
Eric, I.
Krista, I.
Jake, I.
Matt, I.
For aye, all those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes.
We are on to our last item already. Class and compensation study results are in. This is the every 5-year study of staffing, benefits, and salary. And as you might remember, it also is include the aquatic positions, or at least proposed aquatic positions. So we can kind of get an updated baseline of what it would cost to staff the pool. So we will use those aquatic numbers at a later meeting to talk about our operations budget, which will impact our levy. So those we're going to save for another day, but we're just going to give an overview of the study, talk about their recommendations, and let you guys decide. So just for the scale of what they did, their competitive compensation was defined within a plus or minus 5%. So if the current salary of a staff fell within 5% either way, it was in range. If it wasn't, then they commented. You guys saw these reports. I'm not giving you the full detailed report here. I'm giving you the highlights. In addition, as I said before, in addition to the possible new positions at the Aquatic Center, they looked at 10 current district positions, and their primary comparators were listed below. They added a few more for the pool just because the pool needed a little more expansion of options. They made a series of recommendations, but not too many. I'll start with the second one first. Oh, yes, go ahead. Yep.
Just keep pen and med.
Over in the peninsula.
Peninsula's like Jake Harbor.
Two recommendations they made that were significant for tonight. One, they commented that the benefits, as we know, are very competitive. They made no recommendations. I think we have an excellent benefit package. The other recommendation they made was to adopt their pay grade placements for the staff that they felt were outside of the 5% range. And I'll get to that in a second. Their recommendation was that if they move in, so you've got the grades 1 through like 20 down here on the salary scale, then you got 10 steps in each grade. So if they recommend moving to a staff to a different grade, they then found the nearest salary to what they're currently making and put them on that step. Does that make sense? So the impact, and I'll show you in the next slide, it might make more sense. So these are the positions they looked at. Some of them, like the parks laborers position, the admin assistant, and the fleet tech, they said there was no change needed. They're right in range. For the rest of the staff, they made the recommendation of moving them basically 1 grade down. So if they were at a 9 to move them to a 10, 11 move them to a 12. The only exception was Carrie's position, and the reason is that Carrie's position has HR in it and wasn't in the job description that way. So he emphasized that she's also in charge of our entire human resources here, and that kind of changed her comparables. So that's why hers was the one position that moved 2 grades down. But you see the letter.
Brian, for a second, you say move down in grade. What do you mean by that?
Oh, I mean, well, down, I mean, in a positive way. So I guess I mean up. You're right. It's from a 9, from 11 to a 13. So you're right. So I'm moving up.
So in all cases, you're talking about moving up.
Yes, all their recommendations were positive, an increase, I should say. And so you'll see, like, I'll use the park maintenance 2. Currently, park maintenance 2 is at step J of level 9. The recommendation is to go to grade 10. The closest salary to what he currently makes would be step G. So that's where the impact, if you don't have to approve it starting in May, but for instance, if you did, the impact for the rest of the year would be about $376 in the budget. So you'll have the option of either, well, I'll give you the options in a second. So these were their recommendations of all the steps and where they need to be. Couple of things worth noting. When it comes to salaries, where there was a bit of savings this year, which helped because of the admin position we talked about earlier. And our salary chart hasn't been updated. We're going to do that internally. If you look at our salary chart now, the first 2 grades, grade 1 and grade 2, and about half of grade 3 are below minimum wage. So these, for simplicity purposes, I didn't change the numbers now, but these numbers will be changed a little bit. We also have to factor in the exempt staff minimum salary. We dealt with that last year with Sky, where we had to move him down a grade. So we're fine on that level, but as we're adding more staff, we have to be aware of what the state requires exempt staff to make. So anyways, so these were their recommendations. You guys' options are pretty simple. You can either take no action now or decline action, say no. Or you can approve the recommendations beginning May 1st, or you can wait till the end of the year. From a staff perspective, we don't really have a recommendation. It's not a lot of impact financially. It's not a lot of money. In the short term, it's about $2,700 in the budget, but staff would be fine waiting till. What's that? $2,700. If you approved it starting May 1st, it'd be about $2,700 in the budget for the rest of the year. So if you want to wait till January, that's fine. If you want to start sooner, or if you want to take more time and do nothing right now, you can do that too. You can do that.
I asked Carrie last time we did this, when did we have it go into effect? And she reminded me that the last time we did this was in October. So
I think, yeah, it was in the fall, I think, and then we implemented it
in January.
in January.
This is a little earlier in the year, so if that is a consideration. Back to the previous one.
Yep.
Anyone have any questions? If not, could entertain a motion to take one of those three steps.
They can,
One of
yes.
those three options. Jake or Matt, do you have any, can you see the slides? Do you have any questions or thoughts?
No, just the clarification on how we're presenting it up and down. So I mean, I support it.
There's no disadvantage at all to approving it today versus tax year, right?
No.
Well, I would make a motion to approve the recommendations effective May 1st, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the recommendations effective May 1st, 2025. All those in favor say aye.
Eric, aye.
Krista, I.
Jake, I.
Aye.
Jennifer, aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes.
Thank you. And that might be one of the shortest meetings we've ever had.
Yeah.
Could we, that table was really helpful. Could we get that slide?
I can send this out to you. Or I can print it. Is that what you said, print it?
Either way, I just would like to have it.
When you say the
I've got it
table's
right
being
here, if you want it.
adjusted for minimum wage, you mean the minimum wage part of it, but it doesn't affect the whole table in step increments?
Yeah, if we even got rid of the first two grades, it would just move the change. So number 9 would become number 7. So it might impact it a little bit, but it wouldn't be, I'll show you the, I'll give you, let me find it real quick. Sorry. If you go on to our salaries thing on,
I know in education anyway, when we do that, it affects the whole table.
it could, but we'll be mindful of what you approved tonight to make sure the numbers are consistent. So we won't, because the simplest answer here, if you look at the 25 scale, right, the numbers in red here are the numbers that are below minimum wage. So even if we just deleted grades or just deleted these rows 1 and 2, moved everything up, it would change the numbers on the thing. But it would, adjust accordingly. So
Are you going to provide us that as well?
I certainly
We got that last time.
Yes.
It kind of seems like those should be things that we should,
Have we seen that before?
yeah, we did with the last compensation study. We did.
Yep, I will give you both
Good.
this and I'll put an email tonight. And I can print it tonight for those of you who have it at your office.
I would take a copy of that. I could pick tomorrow when I come in to sign the documents.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, excellent. I'll have it here for you.
That's one thing I would ask is if they're able to come in and
Yeah.
sign the couple of
Schools make
districts
sense
here.
because it's so weird, it's like,
Are we,
it's there for education as well.
Madam Chairwoman?
Education.
Yeah.
are we adjourned?
In private sector, you're gonna pay.
Yes, we are adjourned at 6:41. Thank you, everyone.
Stop recording.
Thank you, guys.